Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Industry City. This is the second day of Industry City. Yesterday we did manufacturing, tomorrow mobility, and today it's the FinTech Summit. Industry City is really a place where we explore how the mobile ecosystem connects with key verticals, and today it's our turn on FinTech. So great to see you all. Thanks for rushing your lunch to get back in time. We appreciate that. In today's session, we're going to look at what we've called the rise of FinTech disruption. I'd like to recognize at this stage the support of our sponsors, JP Morgan, and our supporting sponsors, WorldPay, to help get the session created today. Delighted to explain, announce, and confirm kind of the way the session structure will be today. So we've been able to persuade two of our most dearest and closest CEOs from across the world to come and share their thoughts with us today. So Sitoyo and Martha would both be regarded in FinTech as leaders in that field. M-PESA and GCash have existed for more than a decade, but under their leadership, they're really driving those propositions on to be ever more compelling for their customers. And in doing so, really helping address financial inclusion while also creating value for their businesses. So we're delighted that they will join us today. Sitoyo will share his thoughts on strategy and vision for M-PESA in a presentation. Martha's presenting tomorrow, so today she'll join us for a fireside chat to share her thoughts. Before that, though, I'm delighted to welcome Melissa Wong to the stage. So Bolttech is regarded by CBS Insights as one of the top 250 fintechs in the world and in the top 50 Insure-Techs. They are the fastest growing embedded insurance proposition, so we're delighted to welcome Melissa to the stage.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. I all hope you had a great lunch, and I'm super excited to be here today to share with you a collaboration opportunity between the consumer brand, the consumers themselves, and insurance companies. But before we do that, I would like to just share with you a few of the roadblockers to how it is we unlock this protection opportunity. So the consumers themselves, you and I, none of us, I can say, wake up every day going, oh, got to get me some insurance. And we see that the insurance gap today is a whopping big 1.4 trillion, growing to $1.8 trillion in 3 years' time. So how do we make consumers more aware of their protection needs? What about the insurance industry? The insurance industry is at an all-time low in terms of consumer trust. The business model itself is a barrier to entry in terms of affordable and accessible insurance for our consumers. And what about many of you, the brands, the consumer brands? I truly think that we've underestimated the threats and the risks that the services and the products that you provide actually create. So in the insurance industry, there's this hot buzzword going around. It's called embedded insurance. Some of you may have heard it. And there's a lot of definitions running around on embedded insurance, but there's one that I personally think is fantastic, and it's from a well-known analyst, Simon Torrance. More and better protection baked into the everyday lives of everyone. It's actually really simple. It's about more protection every day for everyone. Some of you may think, well, this isn't new, right? Embedded insurance. We've seen this before. We've seen, extended warranties with home appliances. We've seen mortgages baked in or cross-sold in with a home and contents product. Or perhaps, you yourselves have actually experienced buying travel insurance off the back of a flight ticket. So you may ask yourself, what's changed? What's really, what's she talking about? Why is this a big change? Well, the scale of digitalization has created fundamentally different types of risk exposure for our consumers. All of you know that 6 out of 10 people in this world are connected to affordable internet today. The shared economy has fundamentally changed the way we live. So the way we move from A to B, the way we think about purchasing products or buying products, and what we own today. And smart and IoT devices are a centerpiece of everyday life. So what does that mean about the opportunity in embedded insurance? What we see is that by 2032, it's going to increase by 25% and will be making up 27% of the insurance marketplace. So this is something that we all have to sit up and really take notice of. So, you're all asking yourselves, how do we maximize this opportunity? How can we capture the opportunity? I have 3 personal thoughts that I'd like to share with you today. So the first we touched on, it's the new risks. When we think about coming out of the pandemic, households and families are valuing what's in their home a lot more than we used to. Electronic and smart devices at the home are not just powering the household, but they're also powering livelihoods. People are working more from home. Munich Re puts cyber insurance gap at a whopping big 9.2 billion annually. And the most surprising fact is that that's going to grow to $22 billion in the next 3 years. Now that, if that's not an opportunity to capture, I don't know what is. What about distribution? What about a lot of you, brands? You spend a significant amount of investment in acquiring customers, trying to keep them sticky and loyal. Well, protection and insurance is a fantastic way to try to build trust and loyalty and engagement with your customers. What if we, insurance companies, Insure-Techs like Bolttech, and consumer brands like yourselves could rethink insurance? What if we could be the Netflix or the Spotify of insurance? What if we could actually have insurance as a membership or a subscription? I think this is going to change the game in insurance in the next few years. And finally, what about servicing? So the reimbursement models of the world are long gone, yet insurance companies continue to pursue putting money in the account when actually, when you've lost your phone or you've cracked your screen, actually none of you care. You don't care about getting a few $100s in your bank account in a few weeks' time. You want to recover your life there and then. So what if we could change that? What if we could pick up your phone, repair it or replace it, and put it back in your hands in less than 24 hours in a big, traffic-driven metropolitan city? Now, doesn't that change the game? Isn't that a customer moment of truth that we all want to try and capture? So, you're probably thinking, who is Bolttech? We are a global group of insurance professionals, technologists, and designers. And at the heart of what we do is to enable the connection, the connectivity layer of insurance products. We have almost 5,000 insurance products, 200 insurance companies connected to our insurance exchange platform, and we distribute and we help brands like yourself just add insurance. It's as simple as that. Our hero proposition is the device lifecycle, because we feel that the digital lifestyle, the center of that is the device. And what we do is we can replace, we can repair, we can upgrade, and we can help recycle in a sustainable way to ensure the future sustainability of devices and the world. And our Bolttech Home Protect platform helps your brands engage and service your customers in a better way, all white labeled and embedded within your digital assets. Let me show you a little video about what we've been doing globally around the world. So Bolttech services, we've got a range of different services that we work with the device and OEM industry on. I won't go through all of them today, but if you're interested, we'll be over there in the Q&A, and we also have a meeting room. Please just make contact, and we'd be happy to have that conversation. I'd leave with you all with this thought. Together, we could be all part of the future of insurance. Thank you very much.
Thanks to Melissa, a super presentation, really set out a really new, exciting area. And I'd now like to welcome on stage Sitoyo Lopokoiyit, who's the MD for M-PESA in Africa. Sitoyo.
Thank you. I think before I start, it's great to see what Melissa presented. I've been with M-PESA for probably 13 years, and the most difficult thing we've ever tried to disrupt or influence is insurance. And it's great to see FinTech beginning to disrupt the insurance space. And that's something, in most of our markets, insurance penetration is between 2% and 3%. So it's great to see new technologies and new partnerships coming onto it. I think just before I start, give a little bit background of who we are as M-PESA. And we've been here we're turning 16 next month as M-PESA. So we were there before the word FinTech started. And we started in March 2007. I think the iOS started in September 2007. I just hope we had the same market cap as iOS. But I think it's, some of the foundation and the success of M-PESA is in the room. And, I cannot speak about M-PESA if I don't mention somebody who's in the room who's actually played a big role on what M-PESA is, and that's Michael Joseph seated right there. And then there's Peter, CEO of Safaricom around here. But I think for us about M-PESA is, if I want to speak, just about what's happening in the African continent. It's a continent of diversity, it's a continent of opportunity, it's a continent of youth. Today, 60% of the population in Africa is below 21. I think in Europe it's less than 20%. It just shows the unique and the diversity that's available within the African continent. And for players in the FinTech industry, it provides a great opportunity to innovate, to leapfrog, and leverage on platforms such as M-PESA. And you're going to be seeing a little bit when I present. M-PESA is not a product. It's actually a platform, and it's a platform for the FinTech community. So we do not compete with the FinTechs. Actually, we are a platform that enables the FinTechs to use our rails to deliver better products and services within it. Last year, I was here, and I said I want to, by the time, in the next 2 to 3 years, M-PESA should be creating 10 African unicorns in the continent, leveraging our platform, knowing that we provide a secure, scalable, expandable product that actually enables the whole ecosystem operate within the continent. I think for us, purpose is clear, and there are big opportunities. For those who were in Egypt last year for the COP27, things related to ESG and climate. How do we solve some of these societal problems that are actually within the continent? We have a unique opportunity as a FinTech community to create and recreate new economies. There are things in the insurance, you've seen that, in RegTech, in payments, in embedded finance. We are leapfrogging a lot of what is happening. So those are new economies that we are creating, and that creates new job opportunities, not only in the continent, but also across the globe. And it's important that we actually look at that and start saying, what are these new economy, what are these new markets that we actually can create? And you'll be seeing how we are providing a platform that is trusted to enable this to happen. We started with financial inclusion, and we've grown that in the continent, and then we've gone to financial health, which is ability to help our customers solve the challenges that they may face. This could be healthcare, COVID, farming in the continent, and so on and so forth. But if you look at this conference today, everywhere is 5G, there's IoT, there's so much tech in this. But how does this help a rural woman in Africa? So are we creating a new digital divide? So while we put in super apps, while we put in fantastic tech, but are we creating another digital divide? So financial literacy, as we launch fantastic insurance products, how do we ensure that no one is left behind and create another problem? So financial literacy and fintechs around financial literacy, that'll become a key component of how actually we can be able to support the industry grow, but also ensure, as I said, no one is left behind. We will create a facility for value exchange, secure storage of wealth, and then provide scalable platforms, as I said. So let me just start by playing a video that just showcases some of the stuff that we are actually doing. So that just gives us an example of just what are some of the products and services we are doing. And it's a lot about building ecosystems. So when you look at our platform, we look at it from a two-sided ecosystem. So what are we doing for consumers? And M-PESA has been great about what we're doing for consumers, from sending money, payments, lending. You can connect to basically almost all services within the ecosystem. Then we have what we call the business side of it. And this one we digitize from governments, large corporates such as the Coca-Colas, Diageos of this world, the SMEs, and then more importantly, the micro SMEs. So when you're here in Barcelona, beautiful city, when you pay for your goods and services, you actually, when you tap on pay, the merchant doesn't get the money. This is, in terms of it, there's acquiring bank, and the settlement will happen T+1, T+2. So they're solving from what we call a collection problem. But in the African continent, we're not solving a collection problem. We're solving a payment problem. And this means, how does the business, once they receive their money, actually make payments? And that's the most difficult part to solve. But that's what we've done, and that's what we are pushing towards. So when the business receives either card, cash, M-PESA, it's fantastic. So people say cash is bad, cash is good. But how does the SME, once they've received that, actually make their payments? So we start solving what we call a payment problem rather than a collection problem. That means whatever they receive the money, they should be able to use it real time. They can pay salaries, they can pay their bills, they can pay suppliers, they can take a credit facility for stock credit, and so on and so forth. So we've seen this explode in the continent. Today, over 5 million businesses run on M-PESA. And This is an area that we want the fintechs to come on board. We've built a super app, and it's great to see some of our partners like Alipay here in terms of enabling third parties and fintechs to actually deliver products and services for our consumers and our businesses. So we have created a platform to enable third parties actually come in and provide relevant products and services. We can't do it ourselves. So we strongly believe that there's more innovation outside M-PESA than there is within the M-PESA ecosystem. So if you're a fintech, from Spain, why not come and build a product and services for the SME? The SME is not any different from a mom and pop shop in Spain. They require the same kind of facilities. So the way we're opening up our platform, and I come to the middle part of the developer ecosystem. How do we ensure that we enable developers with open APIs, with mini programs, with web views, with low code, no code kind of technology that enables businesses to actually, and developers to come and leverage on the platform, ensure that the APIs are secure, scalable, and develop products and services for this two-sided ecosystem. So whenever you, as M-PESA, we don't see ourselves as a competitor to the fintech industry. We actually see ourselves as an enabler to the industry and enables businesses both within the African continent. But today we are buying from Amazon. We're buying from AliExpress. People want to buy products and services globally. I was in Stockholm the other day. How does Spotify sell its products and services continent? Yesterday we were with Starlink. Starlink is launching in the African continent. It's great that they can launch there, but how are they going to make payments? And if somebody cannot pay, is there financing available to that? And so on and so forth. So we are looking at ourselves as a rail to enable these kind of transactions happen. And that's why the far end, we've built the platforms. And we can also partner with platforms. So it's buy, borrow, build in terms of partnerships from insurance, loyalty, wealth management, credit, and so on and so forth. So this just gives an opportunity to give you a high level of how we're looking at it from building a digital ecosystem. This ecosystem of M-PESA now does $1 billion a day in value. So in average, it's over $360 billion flowing through this ecosystem and continuously growing year on year. With regard to the advent of e-commerce, I just wanted to highlight two use cases that we are really focusing on. As e-commerce grows, how do we enable the continent and everybody within the continent actually access this brilliant opportunity? And we do see over $40 billion from subscription economy within the continent. In the next decade, 16% of consumers will be in the African continent. 1 in 5 people will be in the African continent in the next 20 to 25 years. So I'm encouraging all of you, please invest in the African continent. It's a continent that is actually, it's a continent that's on the rise. So with this, we're looking at opportunities of partnerships with people like Apple Pay, PayPal, Visa, to be able to unlock this opportunity for the continent to be able to do subscription services in it. And if I just play a video that just illustrates what we're trying to do.
Running has always been in my blood. It started when I was running 6 kilometers to and from school. It taught me endurance. When I got my first job as a military delivery man, I was getting 1 shilling per delivery. I saved for 5 months just to be able to buy my first pair of running shoes. The day I held this shoe for the first time was the best day of my life. Getting a pair of shoes for the first time was a hassle, but not anymore. With M-PESA Global Pay Virtual Visa Card, I can pay for shopping and subscriptions on global website securely and conveniently using my M-PESA wallet.
Download the M-PESA app today to access M-PESA Global Pay, a virtual Visa card that enables you to make global payments directly from your M-PESA wallet. The world is yours.
You see Elliot, who I refer as a philosopher rather than the world's greatest marathon runner or athlete ever. Because when you meet him, you're going to understand why he's a philosopher and not an athlete in it. I did mention about youth in the continent and across the globe. Today, we have to build products and services for the generation, and not the generation that I'm seeing in front of me today, because the generation that we want to build on is that's between 10 and 18 years old. And that's a generation that needs the financial literacy, needs the skills to be able to really explore the opportunities that new tech does, from gaming, whether it's Fortnite, Clash of Clans, and so on and so forth. We should be able to enable our youth actually leverage on the ecosystems around the FinTech to be able to actually live more productive life. So we have built a product, and it's running in Safaricom and in Kenya, designed for kids to ensure that they have safety. You cannot do betting on the site. You cannot go to the bar and buy a drink as a kid. But as a parent, you can be able to do parental control. But more importantly, it gives the kid the ability to actually feel independent about how the money that they're given, they can save, they can manage the products and services, but also provides a platform to gamify a lot of things that the kids actually are able to do. So this is just a video that just showcases what we're trying to do. So in conclusion, it's all about delayering the ecosystem, building more partnerships, and ensuring that the whole ecosystem from the consumer and the business is secure, scalable, but ensuring that we open this platform for the FinTech community to actually produce relevant products and services for the consumers within our ecosystem. Thank you very much.
Well done, thank you. Thanks, Sitoyo, for a super presentation. We were very fortunate to be able to work with Sitoyo and his team at Mobile World Congress in Africa, I think in October. And I think I was really struck by the quality of the insight and then the clarity of the vision that came through that from insight. So delighted that he could join us today to share that with you. I'd now like to introduce my final guest. So Martha is the president and CEO of GCash. GCash is the largest app in mobile FinTech app in the Philippines, and we're delighted that she's joined us on stage today for a fireside chat. She's presenting tomorrow, so Martha, welcome. Please come and join me. Thank you. How's Barcelona been so far? How have you
Great.
enjoyed it?
Yes. I'm glad that the people are back.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
I think there's around more than 90,000 in this conference.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, yeah. It's
good to see the people again.
Yeah, it is indeed. No, thank you very much for joining us. I think I was saying in my opening remarks, many people might not know GCash goes back to 2005. So I was keen to perhaps explore some of the stages and theme on its development since that time. Going back to that time, what was Globe's thinking in creating GCash?
Okay, so in 2005, Globe launched GCash as an SMS platform intended for local money transfer. Back then, the need or the problem was difficulty in local remittance, given that the country is highly unbanked and we have 7,100 islands. So it's really difficult to send and receive money locally. So Globe embarked on launching a FinTech, actually it was an e-money platform back then. Another insight there was they were saying you don't know, no one really knows their savings account, right? But you know your mobile account. So that was an inspiration too.
Yes.
But it didn't take off. I think it was ahead of its time, mainly because the internet penetration wasn't as as high then, and
Yeah.
smartphone too. So the service was very limited.
Right.
It was in 2015 when internet penetration and smartphone penetration reached around 70% that finally there were more use cases that could be covered. The service transformed from SMS to USSD to an app, and that's when we also started partnering with other experts in the field. So from simple local remittance to tackling the issue on financial inclusion, finance for all, similar to what Sitoyo said. So the GCash vision now is finance for all, and we work towards that. And the problem to be tackled was bigger, and we had a better tool with the app. And with smartphone widely distributed, it could host more services inside,
Yep.
not just local remittance, but pay bills, load top-ups, and other financial services too.
Yeah. So in 2015 sounds like an important year because that was the year GCash was spun off into Mint then. So what insight powered that strategy to make that decision?
What powered that strategy was the increase in the smartphone penetration
Right, okay.
and the internet penetration. And so Mint was spun off from Globe. And with that, we were able to welcome new partners like Ant Financial, Ayala, which is also a big conglomerate in the Philippines, and other the big private equity firms
Yeah.
like Insight, Warburg Pincus, and Bowwave.
Okay. Martha, I've heard you speak previously about being really passionate about the customer and putting the customer at the heart of the innovation process. So I guess many CEOs would say that. So how do you make that work on a daily basis? How is that, do you use that customer insight to power innovation?
Okay, of course it starts with our vision. Our vision is finance for all. And the reason why we do that, or our why, is to make Filipinos' everyday lives better. So we're guided by that. And translating it to everyday behaviors and everyday practices, I guess I can summarize it into three things. One is listening. So we listen very frequently and intently to our customers through social listening, through market research, through data analytics, even simple feedback. Secondly is obsess. We obsess about the experience. We count the number of taps, we count the number of minutes it takes from end to end, and we also have a rule. Once you've developed the product, in terms of communication, we should be able to summarize it in 3 easy steps. And if we can't do that, we'll go back to the drawing board. So that's about obsessing on the customer experience. The thinking behind it is that if we cannot simplify it in our minds, what more the other customers, right?
Indeed.
Who don't even have the time to think about these things, and will be lucky if if we get their attention. And the third one is iteration. So the product that we launch is never the final one. We continue to iterate, we continue to listen to feedback from our customers, and sometimes we try to tell ourselves, oh, that's one dumb thing we did. So we need to change it and improve it. And that actually is a source of innovation for us. Whether it's customer experience improvement or really game-changing product, customer at the center, or as our North Star, has become the source of innovation and improvement in GCash.
Does that mean every day, for example, the guys are poring over numbers from yesterday, what happened, how many people are using the app? Is that the kind of behavior that you see?
Yes, that's the behavior that we see. Like we talk about, we look at data.
Yes.
We look at daily transactions. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
So an example of how we iterate. Back 5 months into the pandemic, August, we saw a spike in daily transactions on P2P, or the send and receive money. And then said, oh, are there fraudsters in our platform? So we need to dig deep into the numbers. because it's 1 peso. I mean, imagine how low a peso could be. And then it was in millions. And why are people sending 1 peso? Is this like a fraud? Like they're trying to bait customers? And so we were like on guard.
Yes.
But after analyzing the numbers, it was actually consumers nudging their friends. So when people were on lockdown and they were like trapped in their own homes, they had to find new ways to communicate with each other, and they found it in GCash. What they did was they would send 1 peso, and it used to be that this was a small feature in GCash. There's a feature in GCash where when you can send a clip. So send money with a clip or a virtual card, right? So they'd send a joke, which is part of the library of our clips, and they'd send a peso because you need to send money, so people can read or see your message. And so what we did. So we are now being used as a form of communication. Why not increase the library of virtual cards inside GCash? So we sent like happy birthday clips, and we developed more jokes. Also well wishes on weddings, anniversaries, and even at the time when they had to send condolences to their loved ones or get well soon cards. And now it has become, the send money with a clip has become a virtual Hallmark greeting card for consumers in the Philippines.
All family occasions now.
Yes, all occasions.
Yeah. You mentioned a moment ago accessible finance. So you tell us more about the solutions that you developed to address that.
Yes, so our principle in GCash is we want to democratize financial services. Back in 2019, the bank penetration rate, or only 29% of the population were banked. And then less than 1 to 3% was the penetration of investment and even insurance. Lending, 81%, 60% were being victimized by loan sharks. So they were like loaning from informal lenders. So the big insight there was people cannot afford. So there's a big population at the base of the pyramid. And Philippines is known as a sachet economy, meaning we can afford, but we need to buy it in small sizes. So our shampoos are in sachets, our ketchup are in sachets, but we consume every day or twice a week. Even our load top up. So 98% of the business of mobile in the Philippines is prepaid, and I think one of the popular SKUs is $1. Right, $1 to $2. So imagine, people can't afford really hundreds of thousands of dollars to do savings and investment. Yeah. And secondly, a lot of the population are undocumented. So we don't have a Philippine national ID fully rolled out yet. So there's difficulty in getting a bank account. So in terms of accessibility, what we said is, how do we find a way to get this people included financially, and that's how we have an eKYC platform. So we made it easy for people, just a face ID, face verification, and you get inside the platform.
Yeah.
And on lending, what we did is, whereas normally banks would ask for collateral, in GCash we're able to score you your credit, and we call it G-score, or your trust score, based on your digital behavior. So you don't need collateral anymore. And that's a key thing, especially in lending. Because these people, they have good behavior. They can pay, except that they don't have collaterals, they don't have documents, especially those in the rural areas. So, and that way, we could also customize the interest rates, the tenors, based on the risks. So now we have, I guess, one of the most sophisticated and wide coverage of scoring in the credit scoring in the Philippines. Lastly, we wanted affordability, so lower cash outlay, and easy to access inside our app. So that's how we're working on accessibility.
Yes, thank you. I know I've heard you speak previously about financial inclusion, and I know that you're really passionate about that. So could you share more about your strategy and how that's been delivered through GCash?
So let's start with GSave. So we have a GSave, which is what our savings marketplace, and we host there big traditional banks and neobanks. And now we have like 4 partners in there. Because of the efforts of GCash and the way we work with the regulatory and our partners, we've increased bank penetration from 29% pre-pandemic to now 55%. So that's a big win for the government. That's a big win for Filipinos. And with just a few taps, whoever you are, you can get a bank account and you don't have to go to the branches anymore. You're not limited by the location of the branches anymore. So that's on GSave. And lastly, the result is 1 in 4 of bank people in the Philippines have a GSave account. On insurance, so we call it G-Insure. Just like what Melissa said, we have embedded insurance inside our app. When you pay your bills, the insurance is embedded there. And the latest count is 1/3 of insurance policies issued in the Philippines is also from the GCash marketplace, G-Insure. On investment. So what we did with investment is before you can invest in global funds, you needed a private banking officer, right? And you needed like thousands of dollars to get that.
Yes.
What we did was we made it more affordable such that for as low as $1 or less than what you would normally spend for milk tea or iced coffee, you can now invest in a global fund that's either a tech fund, consumer fund, or even ESG fund. So people now, anyone, it democratizes investment, and 4 out of 5 UITFs in the Philippines are issued through GCash. What else? Insurance, investment, and lastly, of course, most important, lending. Because of our G-score, we were able to do fair lending for the underserved, and disbursed around $1 billion last year alone. And our NPL rates are best in class. They rival the banks' NPL rates. So imagine that. We are able to serve and lend to the underbanked and prove that they actually can pay.
Indeed.
Right?
Yeah.
So those are our main efforts for financial inclusion.
No, it's fantastic. Thank you. And I've heard you mention previously, you described GCash as a life hack. So it's a term that's always intrigued me. Could you explain to our audience what you meant by that?
A life hack, because of course we have the standard products inside GCash, but what people have done, they've customized it according to their needs. They're the ones already like creating the use cases. Example is they've used it as a source of livelihood for them. We have a buy load inside our app. There are resellers now inside our app. So that wasn't meant to be a platform for resellers. Back in the pandemic, and it has stayed on after, when the stores closed down, merchants went to Viber or other social media, and they used GCash as a form of payment. They'd flash the QR code of GCash, and just so they could continue to conduct their business, from paying, operating, and receiving payments as well. And now, even fisher folks, market vendors, and drivers, riders, all have GCash. And I remember I was walking along the beach, and of course I didn't have my wallet with me because I was on the beach, right? But I had my phone. And there's this fisherman trying to sell me his day's catch. He had like lobster, squid, and like fish, big fish. And I said, oh, but I don't have my money with me. And he was the one who volunteered, ma'am, I have GCash. So I was so happy. Yeah. I bought the entire lot. So that's another one. And the other one is some people, because like especially in the rural areas, not everyone has smartphone. They would pay the bills for their neighbors. So they charge a small amount, and they do that through GCash. So it saves the neighbors, it saves everyone the transportation costs going to the town and all the hassle. And at the same time, the one doing business gets to earn more money. So a lot of that, we're surprised by how people have customized the use cases of GCash to their needs.
So it's more around how it's becoming more and more relevant in their lives? Is that that's how you...
Yes, it has become really relevant in their lives.
Yeah,
In fact, last year, our daily transactions peaked at 24 million.
Right.
Our active users use our app twice a day. And the gross transaction value actually, I think we ended at $160 billion.
Wow.
Yes. So.
Serious. I'm conscious of the clock. You can see it like I can, so perhaps a couple more, if I may, Martha. So I know you recently announced a partnership with Grab. Perhaps you could tell us a little bit more about that, please.
Okay. Well, true to our principle of having customers as our North Star, we noticed that a lot of people are actually going into Grab and wanting GCash to be a form of payment. For the longest time, Grab didn't have that because they had GrabPay. And we've been working with Grab for, I think, 2 years now to finally get GCash inside Grab. And they finally agreed, and because we share the same desire to service our customers even better and offer a very seamless experience. GCash is the only e-wallet inside Grab.
Yeah.
So that's a big alternative to cash. So when we work with e-commerce services like Grab, Lazada, Shopee, our goal is to convert cash to cashless.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And because 76 million people own a GCash, has a GCash app in the Philippines, it's so convenient, right?
Yeah. And I know our audience won't possibly know yet, but you're doing a keynote on the main stage with a huge screen as big as this area tomorrow morning. So good luck with that. Hope it goes well. I hope your rehearsal goes well. Could you give us a sneak preview on any of the messages that you would be delivering tomorrow?
Well, a lot of it I said here. No, I'd be talking about our journey in GCash. It's not an overnight success. It took us 18. It's been 18 years in existence, and I think there was like 10 years that nothing really happened or no major progress happened. But because we were ready during the pandemic, we were there for our customers to serve them, and GCash became a silver lining to all the chaos and ambiguity that happened during the pandemic. So I'll be talking a lot about that, and I'll be sharing like stories of people and how it helped them, and a big focus on financial inclusion.
Sure. Well, good luck tomorrow morning. I hope it goes really well. We do appreciate you coming this afternoon, because obviously that's a really big thing tomorrow morning. So thank you very much. If you could show your appreciation for Martha, please. Thank you, Martha.
Thank you. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.